Okay, so this is the next video in the continuation of our FastAPI series. Okay, and we are exploring this security feature of the FastAPI tutorials. So we have covered like 22 videos till now, and in the last video we have in the last two videos, first we see what is the process of the authentication and authorization, what is how to create a particular form where the user will enter the user ID and the password. So in the second video, we see if the user ID enter the user ID and the password, how to validate the particular user ID and the password. So first 3 steps are done, basically first 4 steps are done. So user has entered the user ID and the password into the form, and we have checked the user and we have verified the password. So the next step is we have to create a token, right, so that we can use the token in our path. So how our application look like till now. So let me activate the environment. So if I start my application, my application has been started. So we have all these routes. So we have created this authorize function, and here if we enter something wrong, so it will give us the error that is you are unauthorized. So if I give correct password, so it will authorize me. So now I am authorized, so I could see a logout option, and now I am able to create an item. So if I try to create an item, so let's pause 1 minute, testing, and if I try to create an item has been successfully created. And if I see in the database, so right now we have 4 items. So if I execute the query, I could see one more item, but every time the owner ID is treating as a 3 only, because we have hard this owner ID. So we will remove this hard code owner ID, but before actually implementing this process, so let me show you as well. So if I go to our routers and if I go to items.py file, so here we are hard coding the owner ID. So whenever any user create a item, every time owner ID is hard coded, but we will not do that. What we have to do is whoever the user will be login. So let's suppose the example user has been login. So what is the ID for the example users? So for the example user, the ID is 15, right? So for the example user, ID is 15. So ideally, so in the items table, because example user has been logged in, so owner ID should be 15 here. So we will get this information from the token only, because we are authorizing it, we are entering the data, so we are verifying the user ID and the password. Now we have to create a token, and the token is basically some set of characters, and that contains the actual information, right? So I show you in the last video. So let's try to actually implement our process. So go to the cd routers and go to the nano login.py file. So till now we have implemented this thing, we have accepted the form data, and we are verifying the user and the password by querying from the database. So once the user has been verified, the password has been verified, now the next process is to create the token. Okay, so if I go to the JWT.io, so I show you that in the last video, before creating the token, we should know how the token looks like. So the token looks like in this form, right? So it contains some information regarding the algorithm, right? It contains some data as well, and it contains some secret key as well, right? And there are so many algorithms which we can use. So there are so many algorithms like RS256, HS256. There are so many algorithms we can use, and there are so many libraries available. Let's suppose uh, JOS, JWT is one of the library, JWT.NET is one of the libraries. So there are so many libraries. Some are the Python library, some are the Java library, some are the .NET library, right? So we will use we can use any library, like whatever you want you can use. Either you can use the PyJWT, either you can use the Python JOS, either you can use the JWC crypto. So all like they have just a library, and they will create a token. So we will, in this we will use the Python JOS library. So first we have to update our requirement.txt with the Python JOS, because we are not going to write our own algorithm like HS256 or ES512. We will use this library and it automatically do everything for us. So we have to use the Python JOS library. So you can use the JWT as well, so but we will use the Python JOS JWT. So if you want to the code, you can just click on the view repo. So the code will be available. So it is just a very simple library, we have to import some few things and encode it, that's it. Okay, so let's save it and let's try to install that. Python 3 install -r requirement.txt. pip3 install, sorry. So Python JOS has been successfully installed. So let me clear the screen. Now go to the routers again and go to the login. So first step is we have to create a token, right? And let me again show you. Now we have authenticated user and the password. So next step is to create a token. So let me show you. So how the token looks like. So there are some data as well, there are some algorithm as well, and there are some secret key. So we need all these things, right? So let's create those things. So data should be in a form of dictionary. So let's create a dictionary. And what could be the key for the dictionary? So I told you the key for the dictionary should be SUB. So key for the dictionary should be SUB. And what could be the data? So we are passing the username, and username stored in the form data.username, that is basically the email, that's it. So there are so many option name, IAT means I think it is issued at, so the time when it is issued. So we can set the expiry of the token using the EXP key. But there are so many parameters we can set into the data, but right now we will use only the SUB. SUB is basically the unique key which will differentiate every token. So our unique key is username. Username is basically here we are saying username, but it is basically the email. So we are getting the form data and form data.username. So data is ready, right? Now we have to encode this data. So let's import the library from JOS, import JWT. So how I know that? So you can go to this official documentation in the Python JOS library, and they told that we have to import this from JOS, import JWT. Okay, fine. Now I have to create a token. So JWT token is equal to, how the token will be created? I have to use the JWT library, and I have to use the encode function. And what I have to encode? I have to encode the data, right? But the token is consist of so many things. So token is consist of the data, token is consist of the algorithm, and token is consist of the security key. So we will pass all these options. So we have to pass the security key, we have to pass the algorithm as well. So we have to pass the security key, so we have to pass some security key as well, right? And we have to pass the algorithm as well, the name of the algorithm, right? So any name like HS256, let's suppose we are using, and some security key we have to pass. Let's suppose ABC is the security key, let's suppose, right? So this is our security key. So these things we are, but these are the configuration things, right? So better we will define this configuration into our config file, rather than hard coding here. So we have the configuration file, nano config.py file. So we will define these things here only. So security key equal to, so we can define security key, but security key is like some sensitive information, so that's why we will like define into our environment variables, and for the environment variables we are using the .env. So let's open the .env, nano.env. So here we will define our security key, and we will access our security key from load .env module. So some security key like you can like my super secret keys, something like that, but like in the official documentation they have like given this kind of security key. So if you want this kind of security key, generally in the production we use this kind of security key. So how you will generate this kind of security key? So there is a command, so you can just simply use this command, OpenSSL command, to generate the security key. So just simply run this command, OpenSSL rand -x. So security key has been generated. So let me copy that security key, and I will update my security key into the .env. So security key has been generated. So I have saved that. So let me exit it. Now I have to get the security key. So how I am getting? os.get.env security key. Okay, and what other thing I need? So I need the algorithm as well. So rather than hard coding there, so we will like define the algorithm here as well. So algorithm should be HS256. Alright, so this security key is of type string. This is of type string. Right, so whether you can define this or you can use this or not, it doesn't matter, like we will do this only. So algorithm HS256. So we have defined this. So now we will use here. So we have to import from the config import settings, and security key we will access from the settings dot security key, and algorithm also we will access from that settings dot algorithm. So how I know this, like this encode function? So I got to know this from this official documentation. So JWT dot encode, we have to pass the data, we have to pass the secret key, we have to pass the algorithm. That's it. So we have passed the data. So data is like in the form of dictionary. We have passed the security key, we have passed the algorithm as well. Now, so once the token will be created, we will return it. So we will return in the form of JSON. So access token will be JWT token, and type will be access type, token type, I think token type will be bearer. What is bearer? So if you look at the Google, so bearer meaning, right? So bearer is a person or a thing that carries or holds something, right? And that's why this token is called as a bearer, because our token holds something. And what is that something? That something is our basically actual data, right? So our token like hold like this thing, the data thing. That's why like we are like calling our token as a bearer. So that's it. So we have implemented the create token step as well. And anything left? So we have imported the JWT. Yeah, so everything looks okay. So let me start my UV corn main app -- reload. So from config import settings, So what is the name? Nano config.py file. It is setting basically, so we have to import the settings. Cd routers nano login.py file. So it is not settings, it is setting. So let me correct this as well. Ctrl X Y. Anything? Yeah, application has been started. So let me access my application now. So my application has been started. So let's look at like whether the token is getting, because if we just click on here, right, and we will write example example.com and example, and we authorize it, so the token will be generated, but we would not able to see the token. But this, when we like click on this, this is basically calling this login/token. So rather than, if you want to see the token, we have the login/token route, so we can easily access that route. So try it out. So let's give some username, example@example.com, give some password. We are giving some password and let's execute it. So now token has been generated. So if I copy this token, let me copy this token. And if I go to our JWT.io, if I replace this token with my token, so you could see this is decoded part. So decoded part, we automatically see example@example.com, because like I have not mentioned example@example, I have just mentioned the token, and the token is holding my information. And what information like it is holding like so this, what I am passing, example@example.com, that is the primary key, right? So it is holding my subject. So subject is the unique key, and it also like hold like what is the data, what is the algorithm basically like I am using, and what is the type. So I am using the JWT token, and it is basically of JSON type. So that's why I am returning the JSON as a key output. So it algorithm which we are using HS256, alright, and we are also using the security key. So right now signature is invalid signature. So if I use the security key, signature is verified, alright. So that's so we have like covered this as well. So we enter the data, we verify the user, we verify the password, we created the token, we send the token. So what happened here? Yeah, so we send the token as well, right? So token contains some our actual information. Now what next? So let me close this, and if I go to the routers, nano items.py file, so here we are accepting our token, because we already imported this O.2 scheme. So we are accepting our token, but below we are not using this token, but even though we are hard coding this on already. So the next step is we will decode this token. So using this just decode functionality, we will decode this token, right, using the same secret key and the same algorithm, because we know the algorithm, we know the secret key, and we have the token as well. So we will decode the token. So once the token will be get decoded, we will get our output. So output will be like the data. Then we will access our data, and we will access our email. So once we get the email, we will query into the database, because if we users, if I know the email, by querying into the database, I can get the ID as well. So now I can get the ID, and that ID we will pass here rather than the hard coding it. So that we will cover into the next video. So basically in the next video we will see. So now we have the token ready. Now we will decode the token. So once the token will be get decoded, we will fetch the username, or you can say email, from the token. So once the email has been retrieved, we will query the database using the where condition of the email, and we will get the ID. So once the ID has been retrieved, we will use that ID to create our post request, update request, and the delete request. Alright, so that we will like cover into the future videos. And so that's all. So create token has been done. So now only very few things are left. So yeah, thank you for that.